Hello, me folks. Day 2 here at the IFFA show. Now we're with our friends from Inject-Star.
Yeah.
Martin.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine. And you?
Pretty good.
Okay.
So, very excited to be here.
Yes.
Show us what you got.
Okay. Look, Inject-Star is an Austrian-based company near Vienna, and we one of the market leader for tumblers, injectors, meat harvesting systems. Focused from, let's say, low range, small industrial up to the high industrial customer groups. Let's starting here with one of our bestseller, horizontal tumbler. We produce this eco tumbler from 650 to 12,000 liter, cooled or uncooled. Of course, it's vacuum, where you can have computer controlled loading with lifts or vacuum suction system, flexible for the customer. Let's moving to the next one. Here we're coming to a different size of customer. It's a high performance industrial injector. Yeah. This machine has, for example, a working width of 800 millimeter double head, could be upgraded to 4 heads. That means this is really for customer which have inlet capacity from 3 to 4 tons per hour. You can inject it up to 100-120%.
Can you walk us through the two types? You got the circular system and the. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. We have two kind of drives. In this case, we're using so-called the linear drive. Yeah? Linear drive means what the customer needs from his product is that the injection amount on all level of his product is always the same. We call it homogeneous. How you can do this? If you have a constant prime pressure, yeah, but also a constant needle speed through the whole product. The problem of a crank drive is, including servo drive, is that you have an acceleration and a reducing of the speed of the needle inside the product. Linear drive don't have this. Yeah, that means here you get out the perfect product.
So for the linear, what products can you do?
For linear, you can starting, with from pork bellies, where it's important that you're not stitching in the bottom of the fat. The fat should be always white. When you put the needles with the brine into a fat layer, then the fat gets yellow, a little bit gray. You want to have bright, white, shining fat. It means you stop the needle before you get in the fat level. Yeah, it means you have a short stroke. If you have bigger ones, big portions, then you have the full stroke. That means could be easily controlled by the computer controlled and set by the customer. Yep. Okay. Of course, all these machines are hygienic design. It gets more and more important to have hygienic design on all parts. That you have not normal to the ground, always a little bit sloped, that all brines going down. You can have also an automatic cleaning system for this machine, really for the customer. You can run this machine on 3-shift operations, day and night if you want. Then of course we have different kind of injectors. You saw an industrial style. This is coming to, let's say, budget size plus, I would say. 400 millimeter wide, here you can run about more than 1 ton per hour on the injection. Yes. Plus, to the injector, you have sometimes a brine filter system. Depends on the application. Yeah.
For in terms of injection percent,
yes.
How much you can do with this machine?
With this machine, normally, it's the standard would be normally between 20 and 30%. This is for poultry, the maximum. By the way, you can also inject in poultry. Yeah, it's standard in the industry. Poultry, whole birds, yeah, or parts, yeah, so chicken parts, chicken wings, and so on.
Bone-in and boneless.
Bone-in and boneless. It means all the needles head in this has a sprung needle head. Yeah, that means they're in contact with a bone, they spring back. They're not inject anymore. Therefore you can do this. That means you can even inject spare ribs if you want. Yeah. But we have also injectors, especially for fish and fresh meat injection, fish fillets, where you have the product height, salmon. It's very low, but you can also tuna fillets, yeah? But then you have an unsprung. needle head, yeah, because in this case you have fillets without any bone-in products, yeah.
Do you have some needles that we can show a difference for?
Yes, we will
Can
show
you
them.
show us? Okay.
Yes, we'll show them. Yeah. Now we're coming.
So the thing, we're going to talk about this one, and then we'll go back to the needles and talk a little bit about needles. But I want to do an emphasis in this machine because there's a lot of misconceptions, and I want to talk about why is this important and why. We can talk about the calcium levels.
Yes.
We can talk about the
yield?
cooling system and yield.
Yes.
We need to emphasize in those things.
Yes.
And saying that you want to have a high quality product.
Yes.
There's little options out there. This is one of them.
Yes.
Because they're like in realistic, you have like 20 companies that are doing this, but they're not the same technology.
Yes.
So we need to emphasize in that.
Yes.
Okay.
Look, we talk about this machine is for meat harvesting. Yeah. What means meat harvesting? The customer could be a slaughterhouse, could be an abattoir. That means he slaughter pork, beef, lamb, and so on. He has a main deboning, and then it's the next point, the so-called zero deboning. That means you have still, I would say, 30-40% on meat on the bones. Could be pork, could be beef, you know, and how you can removing or getting and harvesting the meat from these bones. In most cases, the customer doing manual deboning. That means they have a staff of a team with knives in their hand and removing it. The problem hereby is, in these days, it's the same in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, the staffing. Yeah? This job is not very interesting for anybody in the slaughterhouse, and it's also not very safe because the knife's very sharp and you need a reliable team. Yeah? And this machine, for example, which is a mid-size machine, can have a capacity of about 1,500 kilograms per hour. This machine replaces between 10 and 15 zero deboner when you do it manually. What does it mean? First of all, this machine is faster than 10 to 15 people, more safetiness. Yeah? You need only one guy which operates the machine. Because the machine is faster, the sanitary, that means the bacteria grows much better. That means all the meat from the bones, and everybody knows which eats a T-bone steak. Where is the best meat? Close to the bones, you know? T-bone, porterhouse, whatever. You know, it's the same with when you have pork, and it's the same here. And don't forget, in times like this, you know, everybody in the United States, in Europe, we have now an increasing of the material cost. That means for the consumer gets the material, meat, if it's sausage or whatever, gets more and more expensive. And therefore, it's machines like that, where in the past tense, nobody wants to talk about that. You do it in a backyard, yeah? Now coming in the front. And therefore, Inject-Star, first time in the history, have placed this one at the show at our booth. Inject-Star using here a system which will be then animated, yeah, in your podcast, but in the end of the day, it's a linear piston system. That means we don't have a grinding system, because what the customer expecting from this machine is two steps. First of all, removing of all given meat on the bones. Second, have a final product which is minced meat. Yeah? 3 millimeter minced meat, which you can using for any hamburgers and so on. You can do this with this machine. Second, very important, you have obligations, standards, you know. That means the calcium level is given by international bodies. Yeah? It means should not increase, for example, in Europe, 1,000 milligram. In the United States, FDA says 1,500 milligrams per kilogram. And this machine can underline this.
So we're talking about calcium levels.
Calcium levels, yes. Okay. From the final product. Because where's coming calcium from? From the bones. That means it's not in the muscle, it's coming from the bones. And what we have here, a so-called a cold separation process. That means very gentle pressing, not to hurt the product from the consistency, from the protein and everything. That means we have here temperature increase of only 2 degrees Celsius from the beginning to the end. Yeah? That means when you have a bone with 0 degrees Celsius, it comes out with 2 degrees Celsius. That means it's inside this temperature control. Second was, I said already, low calcium. This is very important because when you want to use this for human products, then you have to have standards which you have to fulfill. Yeah. Third one, which coming now more and more, is you can use this for all kind of red meat bones. That means pork, beef, lamb, deer, whatever you want. It's not prepared for poultry. For poultry you have other systems, yeah? But I give you example. This machine can also do meat harvesting from raw pork heads. This is the only machine worldwide. And I think all these guys which listen to these communities knows how hard it is to manual deboning a pork head.
We had a company that had like 10 to 12 people dedicated to trimming all the meat off of heads.
The pork heads, yeah.
So this is like, having a machine like this can save some labor. And nowadays that it's so difficult to get people out there.
Absolutely. Now it's so robust. You see them videos, on that. For the users, and this is very important, yeah. Okay, this is really like we called a cash cow. From the cow into cash. It means every machine costs money, but here the return of investment, if you have a customer, if you have a market, it's a no-brainer. It means the investment period is below 1 year, yeah. Okay, we have different sizes depending on the capacity.
Now that you bring that up, we can touch on to make the ROI easier, quicker. How many animals approximately do you have to process to make this a investment that is worth doing?
For this machine, if a customer slaughtering about 600 pigs per day, then he could a possible customer. Okay. The second question is if he has a market, if he can use this by himself, if he has further meat processing, if he's producing sausages or whatever, or patties, beef patties or whatever, or if he want to serve the pet food industry.
Yeah. And beef? How many beef?
Beef, I would say, if you are doing 50 to 80 beefs per day, then we can talk about that. Okay, perfect. Next one is our smallest baby, I would say, the IS 290. It's for butchers, which produces per day or want to inject maybe 2 tons per day, or let's say 3-4 tons per week. That means really a small butcher which want to do their own products, He has this nice machine, very simple, no computer control, very reliable all over the world, When we also customer in Latin America and so on, everybody knows, if you have a problem, how long it takes if a maintenance team will be on site, Therefore, the philosophy is Inject-Star is to be innovative, but in some pieces don't have any disadvantage to the quality, even by using of the components starting from stainless steel. Finally, we go to the flagship tumbler. It's our Magnum 2 tumbler. It's a full tiltable tumbler, whereby we're using the tiltable, the moving, the back and forth, not only for loading and discharging of the products, but also during massaging process. That means we saw in the beginning a horizontal tumbler. Now we can have a so-called wave function. What means that we don't have only left and right rotation and brakes, but we have also up and down when the product is inside. And this reduces the massaging duration about 30 to 40%. Many industrial customers want to have a more efficient tumbling. They say, look, for a good ham, you need to 6-hour tumbling. How I can reduce this without losing of the quality? And we said, okay, we have a solution for you. With the wave function and this machine, you can reduce it by 30-40% of the time. That means you can add in the 3-shift operation an additional patch into this tumbler. Very cost effective, very attractive. Of course, all of our controls are so-called Industry 4.0. That means the customer can connect it to the quality system to get all data for quality reasons, for whatever end-user customer checking, but also our partners and ourselves could have access by remote controlling, remote maintenance. If something with the machine happens, we can get into the machine, we can support the customer or even inform the local partner what kind of spare parts he needs to fix the problem immediately. Okay?
Thank you, my friend.
Francesca.
It was a pleasure. All the best.
Thank you.